These are days when many are discouraged. In the 93 years of my life, depressions have come and gone. Prosperity has always returned and will again.
Imagine a world dominated by a single titan of industry, a realm where one man's ambition reshapes an entire sector. This was the reality forged by John D. Rockefeller, a figure both celebrated and vilified. His journey from modest beginnings to becoming the unrivaled king of the oil industry is not just a tale of wealth. It's a saga of power, controversy, and enduring legacy. Let's delve into the life of the man who once owned all the world's oil. Early life and formative years. In the panorama of American capitalism, few figures loom as large as John Davison Rockefeller. Born on July 8, 1839 in Richford, New York, Rockefeller's story isn't one of opulent beginnings, but rather a narrative of modest roots and industrious upbringing. His lineage traced back to German immigrants, embedding a blend of European work ethic and pioneering American spirit. Rockefeller's father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a figure shrouded in enigma. A traveling salesman with a flair for the dramatic and dubious, he claimed to cure cancer with his concoctions, fetching up to $25 a treatment, a considerable sum at the time. While his father's ventures were questionable, they brought substantial income, imprinting young John with early lessons in entrepreneurship. Conversely, his mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was a pillar of stability and religious devotion. Her influence was pivotal in shaping Rockefeller's character, instilling in him values of hard work, frugality, and a strong sense of moral duty. These early life dichotomies, a father's opportunistic ventures and a mother's steadfast morals, played a significant role in molding Rockefeller's business acumen and ethical compass. The young Rockefeller's foray into the business world was precocious. At just 12, he had saved $50, an impressive feat for a boy his age, earned through odd jobs and raising turkeys for his mother. Demonstrating an early understanding of money's power, he lent these savings to a neighbor at a 7% interest, marking his first venture into the world of investment. Rockefeller's education was as practical as it was formal. Observing his father's business dealings, albeit morally questionable, provided him with real-world lessons in negotiation and salesmanship. On the other hand, his mother's religious teachings and community involvement offered him a sense of social responsibility and ethical conduct. This blend of pragmatism and morality would become a hallmark of his business practices. The family's move to Cleveland, Ohio, when Rockefeller was 14, opened new horizons. It was here, in this burgeoning city, that he embarked on his professional journey. Starting as an assistant accountant at Hewitt and Tuttle at the age of 16, he quickly displayed a knack for numbers and an eye for details, skills that would prove invaluable in his later ventures. By the age of 20, Rockefeller was prospering in his role, earning $600 a year, a respectable sum for a young man in those times. Yet for someone of his ambition, it was merely a stepping stone. Upon being denied a raise, he resolved to embark on his entrepreneurial journey, a decision that would pave the way for his future empire. In partnership with Maurice Clark, a British businessman, Rockefeller ventured into a wholesale commission company for agricultural products. The venture was a leap of faith, requiring a blend of his savings and a loan from his father, granted, of course, at a steep 10% interest, this early. Partnership laid the foundation for Rockefeller's business principles, calculated risks, reinvestment of profits, and an unrelenting drive for expansion. The oil adventure begins. The stage was set for a monumental shift in John D. Rockefeller's life, a transition that would not only redefine his destiny, but also dramatically alter the course of the global oil industry. The year was 1861, and the United States was on the cusp of the Civil War, a tumultuous period that would inadvertently serve as a catalyst for Rockefeller's foray into the oil business. Rockefeller's initial exposure to the oil industry was somewhat serendipitous. The discovery of oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania, by Edwin Drake had sparked a frenzied oil rush. It was a discovery that transformed the landscape of northwestern Pennsylvania and caught the attention of entrepreneurs nationwide. Rockefeller, with his astute business sense, quickly recognized the potential of this burgeoning industry. At this juncture, Rockefeller's company, a partnership with Morris Clark, was thriving in the grain commission business. However, the Civil War had drastically increased grain prices, and with it, the commissions. This surge in business prosperity provided Rockefeller with the financial leverage and confidence to explore new ventures. And thus, the oil industry, with its vast, untapped potential, presented itself as an irresistible opportunity. Rockefeller's entry into the oil industry was not a leap into the unknown, but a calculated, strategic move. In 1863, he partnered with Samuel Andrews, an English chemist who had devised an efficient method of refining crude oil. This partnership led to the formation of Andrews, Clark and Company, marking Rockefeller's first formal venture into the oil refining business. Despite initial setbacks, including the failure of this first venture, Rockefeller's resolve remained unshaken. Undeterred, Rockefeller sought a loan to establish a new refinery, Rockefeller and Andrews, in 1865. His relentless pursuit of efficiency and cost-cutting measures soon set the company apart from its competitors. A pivotal year in this journey was 1866, when Rockefeller brought his brother, William, into the partnership. Together, they built another refinery in Cleveland, aptly named the Standard Works, signifying their commitment to producing a standard, high-quality product. This period also saw Rockefeller's marriage to Laura Spelman in 1864, a union that would yield 5 children, who would later become the successors of his growing empire. Family life did not slow down Rockefeller's ambitions. If anything, it fueled his desire to build a lasting legacy. The post-Civil War era marked a significant turning point in the United States' transition into the industrial age, and Rockefeller was poised to capitalize on this transformation. The expansion of the railroad and the growing demand for kerosene, primarily for lighting, presented new opportunities. Rockefeller's strategy was not merely to participate in the oil industry, but to dominate it. In 1870, at the age of 31, Rockefeller made a bold move. He founded Standard Oil with a capital of $1 million and appointed himself as president. The name Standard Oil itself was a stroke of branding genius. At a time when kerosene safety was a public concern, the name conveyed a sense of reliability and quality, distinguishing his product in a crowded market. Rockefeller's approach to business was marked by his insistence on controlling every aspect of the production chain. This vertically integrated model was revolutionary at the time. It allowed Standard Oil to not only refine oil, but also control its transportation, distribution, and marketing. This control extended to negotiations with railroads for favorable shipping rates, further consolidating Standard Oil's position in the market. Furthermore, Rockefeller's vision extended beyond the American market. He foresaw the potential of the global market, particularly in exporting kerosene. His brother William played a crucial role in this expansion, managing the export business from New York. This international perspective was instrumental in elevating Standard Oil from a national player to a global behemoth. The rise of Standard Oil. In the annals of corporate America, the meteoric rise of Standard Oil stands as a testament to John D. Rockefeller's unparalleled business acumen. From its inception in 1870, Standard Oil was not merely a company. It was a force that would redefine the oil industry and set a new paradigm in business practices. Rockefeller's vision for Standard Oil was clear and uncompromising: to establish an unassailable dominance in the oil market. This vision was underpinned by 2 core strategies: consolidation and integration. The oil industry in the late 19th century was a fragmented landscape of small, competitive enterprises. Rockefeller saw an opportunity in this fragmentation, an opportunity to unify under the Standard Oil banner. The late 1870s and early 1880s marked a period of aggressive expansion for Standard Oil. Rockefeller pursued a strategy of buying out competitors, a tactic that would later earn him the label of a robber baron. He approached competitors with a simple yet effective proposition: sell out to Standard Oil and benefit from its growing dominance, or face the prospect of being outcompeted. Many chose the former, lured by the promise of profitable returns as shareholders in Standard Oil. But Rockefeller's strategy wasn't just about acquiring competitors. He understood the importance of controlling every aspect of the oil supply chain. This understanding led to the pioneering of a vertical integration model. Standard Oil didn't just refine oil, it also owned the pipelines, tank cars, barrel factories, and even the retail outlets. By controlling the entire value chain, Standard Oil could operate at lower costs and higher efficiencies than any of its rivals. This vertical integration was revolutionary, setting a blueprint for future corporate structures. Another cornerstone of Standard Oil's dominance was its relationship with the railroads. By guaranteeing consistent, large shipments, Rockefeller negotiated secret rebates and special rates with the railroads. These deals not only reduced Standard Oil's transportation costs, but also put competitors at a disadvantage, as they had to pay higher rates for the same service. By the early 1880s, Standard Oil's control of the oil industry was near absolute. It accounted for an estimated 90% of the U.S. refining capacity. This near monopoly allowed Rockefeller to dictate terms and prices in the market, a power he wielded with both astuteness and ruthlessness. However, Standard Oil's dominance was not without its challenges. The company's practices sparked public outcry and journalistic scrutiny. Ida Tarbell, an investigative journalist, famously exposed the dubious tactics of Standard Oil in her 1904 publication, The History of the Standard Oil Company. Her work laid bare the ruthless methods employed by Rockefeller and became a catalyst for public and political opposition to Standard Oil. Amidst growing public and political pressure, the U.S. government began to take notice. The Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890, aimed at curbing monopolies, was a direct response to the likes of Standard Oil. The Ohio Supreme Court's 1892 ruling against Standard Oil, which ordered the dissolution of the trust, was a significant blow to Rockefeller's empire. Yet, true to his resilient nature, Rockefeller found ways to maintain control by restructuring the company under various state laws. The Standard Oil Trust, formed in 1882, was an ingenious solution to manage the company's rapidly expanding portfolio. This trust allowed Rockefeller to control the various companies under one umbrella, a move that further consolidated his power, but also drew increased scrutiny and criticism. Controversies and legal battles. As Standard Oil swelled into a colossus under John D. Rockefeller's stewardship, so too did the controversies and legal battles that would define this era of his empire. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were periods of significant transformation in American business, and Standard Oil was at the epicenter of this upheaval, embodying the tensions between unchecked capitalism and emerging calls for regulation. The foundation of these controversies lay in Standard Oil's business practices. While Rockefeller's strategies were undeniably effective in consolidating the oil industry, they were also viewed as ruthless and unethical. The company's tactics of acquiring competitors, negotiating secret rebates with railroads, and undercutting prices to drive rivals out of business were seen as monopolistic and harmful to the principles of free competition. One of the most notable figures to challenge Rockefeller was Ida Tarbell, an investigative journalist whose father had been ruined by Rockefeller's tactics. Her seminal work, The History of the Standard Oil Company, published in 1904, was a detailed and damning expose of Standard Oil's practices. Tarbell's meticulous reporting peeled back the layers of Rockefeller's empire, revealing a network of shady deals and unethical practices. Her writings galvanized public opinion against Standard Oil and Rockefeller, painting them as the epitome of corporate greed and corruption. The public outcry fueled by Tarbell's revelations and the growing resentment against monopolies led to a legal showdown that would mark the beginning of the end for Standard Oil's monopoly. The Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890, a federal statute that outlawed monopolistic business practices, became the tool through which the U.S. government would challenge Standard Oil's dominance. In 1911, after years of legal wrangling, the U.S. Supreme Court delivered a landmark decision in the case of Standard Oil Company of New Jersey v. United States. The court found Standard Oil guilty of monopolizing the petroleum industry through a series of abusive and anti-competitive actions. The ruling was monumental. It ordered the dissolution of Standard Oil into 34 independent companies. This decision did not just dismantle Rockefeller's empire, it reshaped the American business landscape and set a precedent for antitrust enforcement. The legal battles and public controversies surrounding Standard Oil had profound implications for Rockefeller's image and legacy. Once seen as the embodiment of the American dream, Rockefeller's public persona transformed into that of a robber baron, a symbol of corporate excess and greed. This shift in perception was a significant factor in Rockefeller's later life decisions, particularly his turn towards philanthropy. However, the breakup of Standard Oil did not significantly diminish Rockefeller's fortune. Ironically, it increased it. The 34 companies that emerged from Standard Oil's dissolution, including the precursors to ExxonMobil, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips, grew substantially. Rockefeller, who retained shares in all of them, saw his wealth continue to grow, solidifying his status as one of the richest individuals in history. The dissolution and aftermath. The 1911 U.S. Supreme Court decision to dismantle Standard Oil marked a seismic shift in both the American business landscape and the life of John D. Rockefeller. This dissolution, a direct consequence of the antitrust movement, was not merely the end of a corporate giant. It symbolized the dawn of a new era in American capitalism, where regulatory frameworks would begin to shape the contours of corporate power. The dissolution of Standard Oil was a monumental undertaking. The Supreme Court's ruling required the company to be broken up into 34 smaller entities. This breakup, though ostensibly a blow to Rockefeller's empire, unfolded in a way that paradoxically multiplied his wealth. The shares he held in these separate entities soared in value as these new companies, freed from the constraints of the trust, began to thrive independently. Among these were companies that would evolve into today's oil giants like ExxonMobil, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips. For Rockefeller, the breakup of Standard Oil marked a significant turning point. While it did not diminish his financial power, it did catalyze a shift in his focus and activities. Post-dissolution, Rockefeller, already in his 70s, began to withdraw from active business management, turning his attention more fully towards philanthropy, a field in which he had been increasingly active. The aftermath of the dissolution saw Rockefeller channeling his immense wealth into various philanthropic ventures. In 1913, he established the Rockefeller Foundation, an institution that would become a pioneering model for private philanthropy. The foundation focused on addressing global challenges, from education and public health to scientific research and the arts. Its contributions included funding medical research that led to the discovery of the yellow fever vaccine and substantial support for the establishment of schools, universities, and libraries. This turn towards philanthropy was, in part, a response to the tarnishing of Rockefeller's public image due to his business practices. Through his charitable work, he sought to rehabilitate his reputation and leave a legacy distinct from his corporate exploits. Rockefeller's philanthropy was not without its critics, however. Some saw it as an attempt to whitewash his past, while others acknowledged the genuine impact of his contributions. The dissolution of Standard Oil also had far-reaching implications for the American economy and legal system. It set a precedent for the application of antitrust laws and signaled a shift towards greater government intervention in regulating big businesses. The breakup became a case study in corporate governance and the balance between free enterprise and public interest. For the oil industry, the end of Standard Oil's monopoly meant a more competitive and diverse market. The smaller companies that emerged from Standard Oil's breakup began to develop their own identities and strategies, fostering innovation and growth within the industry. This diversification helped propel the United States to the forefront of the global oil market, a position it would maintain throughout the 20th century. Philanthropy and legacy. As the curtain fell on his career in the oil industry, John D. Rockefeller embarked on a new journey, one that would redefine his image and leave a lasting imprint on society. This phase was marked by philanthropy, a pursuit that would transform the narrative of his legacy from a corporate titan to a benefactor of humanity. Rockefeller's philanthropic journey began even before the dissolution of Standard Oil, but it was in the post-dissolution era that his efforts intensified. With an immense fortune at his disposal, he turned to philanthropy with the same fervor and strategic approach that he had applied to business. The Rockefeller Foundation, established in 1913, became the centerpiece of his philanthropic endeavors. Its mission was broad and ambitious, aiming to promote the well-being of mankind throughout the world. Under this umbrella, Rockefeller funded initiatives in education, public health, scientific research, and the arts, profoundly impacting various sectors of society. One of Rockefeller's most significant contributions was in the field of medical research. The foundation played a pivotal role in developing a vaccine for yellow fever, a disease that had plagued humanity for centuries. This achievement not only saved countless lives, but also set the stage for modern medical research and public health initiatives. The Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, now Rockefeller University, became a hub for groundbreaking medical discoveries, further cementing his impact on global health. Education was another realm where Rockefeller's influence was deeply felt. His philanthropy led to the creation and expansion of several educational institutions. The University of Chicago, founded in 1890. With substantial contributions from Rockefeller, quickly rose to prominence as a leading academic institution. Additionally, his support for Spelman College, a historically black women's college named after his wife's family, highlighted his commitment to education for all, irrespective of race or gender. The Rockefeller Foundation also ventured into the arts and culture, supporting various initiatives and institutions. This included funding archaeological excavations, promoting the arts and humanities, and conserving historical sites. Such contributions underscored Rockefeller's belief in the importance of cultural enrichment and preservation. Rockefeller's philanthropic legacy was not without its critics. Some saw his charitable efforts as an attempt to cleanse his reputation, tarnished by his ruthless business practices. Others questioned the influence and power he wielded through his philanthropy, echoing concerns similar to those raised during his business career. Despite these criticisms, the impact of his contributions is undeniable and continues to be felt in various realms of society. Beyond the tangible contributions, Rockefeller's philanthropy also set a precedent for corporate giving and the role of private wealth in public welfare. He established a model of strategic philanthropy where charitable efforts are managed with the same rigor and foresight as business ventures. This approach has influenced generations of philanthropists and reshaped the landscape of private charitable work. In assessing Rockefeller's legacy, it is essential to consider both his business achievements and his philanthropic contributions. He left behind a complex legacy, one that encompasses both the heights of corporate power and the depths of social responsibility. His life journey from a businessman to a philanthropist reflects a broader narrative about wealth, power, and social impact. In the twilight of his life, Rockefeller had become more than just the world's richest man. He had become one of its most significant philanthropists. His death in 1937 at the age of 97 marked the end of an era. However, the institutions and initiatives he supported continued his legacy, a testament to the enduring impact of his philanthropic vision. Rockefeller's story is a compelling tale of transformation and impact. From his humble beginnings to his rise as a business mogul, and finally, his contributions as a philanthropist, his life encapsulates the complexities and possibilities of the American dream. His legacy, fraught with contradictions and achievements, continues to evoke discussion and reflection on the responsibilities of wealth and the role of philanthropy in society, the Rockefeller impact on American business and culture. John D. Rockefeller's influence extended far beyond the confines of the oil industry and philanthropy, permeating deeply into the very fabric of American business and culture. His life and work reflected and, in many ways, shaped the ethos of a burgeoning America, navigating through the Industrial Revolution and into the modern era. Rockefeller's approach to business was revolutionary. His practices in consolidation, vertical integration, and strategic alliances were pioneering at the time and have since become standard strategies in corporate business models. He redefined how companies approach market dominance and competition, setting a template that countless businesses have emulated. This legacy in business strategy continues to influence corporate decision-making and market dynamics in the 21st century. The rise of Standard Oil contributed significantly to the economic growth of the United States, turning it into a global industrial powerhouse. The company not only created thousands of jobs but also fostered ancillary industries, including transportation, construction, and finance. This ripple effect catalyzed economic development in regions where Standard Oil operated, contributing to the overall prosperity of the nation. However, it's also important to acknowledge that this growth came at a cost, including labor exploitation and environmental impacts, sparking early debates around corporate social responsibility. Rockefeller became a cultural icon, embodying the extremes of American capitalism. He was both revered and reviled, seen by some as a symbol of the self-made man and by others as the epitome of corporate greed. His story was a staple in newspapers and books, shaping public discourse on wealth, success, and morality. This duality in perception laid the groundwork for the complex relationship between American society and its business leaders, a dynamic that persists to this day. Rockefeller's turn towards philanthropy in his later years had a profound impact on American culture. He popularized the concept of the wealthy giving back to society, setting a precedent for future billionaires. His methodical and impactful approach to philanthropy inspired others to view charitable giving as a responsibility that accompanies wealth. The Rockefeller Foundation became a model for how private wealth can be used to address public issues, influencing the philanthropic strategies of subsequent generations. The legal battles and antitrust legislation prompted by Standard Oil's practices had far-reaching effects on American business laws. The enforcement of the Sherman Antitrust Act against Standard Oil was a watershed moment, leading to the strengthening of antitrust laws and policies. This shift towards regulation of monopolies and protection of fair competition reshaped American corporate law, setting a precedent for future antitrust cases and shaping the landscape of American capitalism. Rockefeller's contributions to education and research have left an enduring legacy. His support for institutions like the University of Chicago and Rockefeller University has had a lasting impact on higher education and scientific research. These institutions have become breeding grounds for innovation, thought leadership, and advancements in various fields, reinforcing the importance of educational philanthropy in shaping society. While not often highlighted, Rockefeller's role in the development of the petroleum industry had a significant environmental impact. The extraction, refining, and consumption of oil have contributed to environmental challenges, including pollution and climate change. This aspect of his legacy is a critical reminder of the environmental cost of industrial progress and the ongoing need for sustainable practices.